Ladies and gentlemen, most people don't fail because they lack talent. They don't fail because they lack resources. They fail because they lack clarity on why they're doing what they're doing. When people start something, a business, a career, a goal, they often focus on what they want to achieve. They set targets, make plans, and chase after results. But the problem is they never stop to ask themselves why they're doing it in the first place. And when things get hard, when obstacles arise, when progress slows, they lose motivation. Not because they aren't capable, but because they don't have a reason strong enough to keep going. Success isn't about intelligence. It's not about being the most skilled person in the room. It's about knowing what drives you. Look at the people who make it. They don't just set goals, they have a purpose. They wake up every morning with a deep sense of mission, something bigger than themselves. Most people don't fail overnight. It happens gradually. They start with excitement, full of energy and enthusiasm, but as time goes on, challenges arise. They get tired, they hit setbacks. And because they never had a strong foundation of purpose, they start to drift. Think about people who start working out. They sign up for the gym, they buy all the right gear, they watch videos on how to train. For a few weeks, they're all in, but then something happens. They skip one day, then another. They tell themselves they'll start again next week, but weeks turn into months, and eventually they quit. Not because they can't do it, but because they never had a strong enough reason to keep going when it got tough. The same thing happens in business. People start with big dreams. They launch a company, create a product, and expect overnight success. But the moment they face resistance, when customers don't show up, when sales are slow, when problems arise, they give up. They blame the economy, the competition, the circumstances. But the truth is they lacked clarity. Because when you have a clear purpose, setbacks don't stop you, they fuel you. People who succeed don't avoid failure. They use it, they learn from it, they adapt. The difference isn't talent, it's resilience. And resilience doesn't come from willpower alone. It comes from having a clear sense of why you're doing something. Look at the greatest leaders, the most successful entrepreneurs, the highest achievers. They didn't have it easy. They didn't have guarantees. What they had was an unshakable belief in their mission. Steve Jobs didn't build Apple because he wanted to sell computers. He wanted to challenge the status quo. Elon Musk doesn't push the limits of technology because he wants to make money. He wants to change the future of humanity. And that's the difference. People who fail focus on the outcome. People who succeed focus on the reason. If you want to win, stop worrying about the results. Start focusing on what drives you. Most people fail not because of a lack of talent or resources, but because they lack a clear purpose that keeps them motivated through challenges. Setting goals is important, but without a strong why behind them, people lose motivation and give up when obstacles arise. People don't fail overnight. They gradually lose momentum because they never had a deep-rooted reason to persist through difficulties. The most successful individuals don't avoid failure. They learn from it and push forward because they have an unshakable belief in their mission. People who succeed prioritize their purpose over outcomes, which keeps them driven, adaptable, and relentless in their pursuit of success. Most people believe that failure is the result of not having enough talent, intelligence, or resources. They think that if they had more money, better connections, or higher education, they would succeed. But the reality is, the most common reason people fail has nothing to do with these things. It has everything to do with the fact that they lack a clear purpose, a strong enough reason to keep going when things get tough. When people start something new, whether it's a business, a career, or a personal goal, they often begin with enthusiasm. They're excited about the possibilities, energized by the idea of success, and eager to take action. But excitement alone is not enough to sustain them in the long run. The moment they face challenges, when things don't go as planned, when progress is slow, when setbacks occur, many start to doubt themselves. They feel discouraged, frustrated, and overwhelmed. Without a strong purpose driving them, they begin to lose motivation. Purpose is the foundation of resilience. It's what separates those who persevere from those who quit. When people have a deep and meaningful reason behind what they're doing, they can push through obstacles that would otherwise stop them. But when there's no clear purpose, even minor setbacks can feel like insurmountable roadblocks. They start questioning whether it's worth it, and eventually they give up. Not because they aren't capable, but because they never had a strong enough reason to persist. Think about two people training for a marathon. The first person signs up because they think it would be fun. They buy running shoes, follow a training plan, and start strong. But when they experience pain, fatigue, and early morning runs in the cold, they start skipping workouts. The second person, however, is running for something deeper. Maybe they lost a loved one and are running to raise awareness for a cause. Maybe they were once told they'd never be able to run, and they're proving to themselves that they can. That person, the one with a purpose, keeps going even when it hurts, even when they don't feel like it, because their reason for running is bigger than the discomfort they experience along the way. The same principle applies to business and life. Entrepreneurs who succeed aren't just in it for the money. The most successful businesses are built by people who believe in something greater than profit. They have a mission, a vision, a cause that fuels them. When their first idea fails, they pivot instead of giving up. When customers reject their product, they improve it instead of walking away. They stay committed because they have a reason that extends beyond just making a living. People who lack purpose often chase external validation. They look for shortcuts, quick wins, and instant gratification, but when results don't come fast enough, they lose interest. Without a deeper reason to persist, they fall into the cycle of starting and stopping, never building momentum. They blame circumstances, competition, or bad luck, when in reality, the missing piece has always been clarity of purpose. Setting goals is an essential part of success, but goals alone are not enough. Many people assume that if they define what they want and create a plan, they will automatically stay motivated and achieve their desired results. But motivation is not constant. It fades when challenges arise, when progress is slow, and when things don't go as planned. The people who succeed are not just those who set goals, but those who have a strong reason behind them, a deep and meaningful why that keeps them going even when the journey becomes difficult. Most people start with excitement. They set ambitious goals, create detailed plans, and visualize their success. But as time goes on, they encounter resistance. Maybe they don't see immediate progress. Maybe unexpected problems arise. Maybe they start feeling exhausted, unmotivated, or uncertain. At this point, the difference between those who continue and those who give up is not talent or intelligence, it's purpose. When people don't have a strong enough reason to keep going, they begin to question whether it's worth it. The initial excitement wears off, and without something deeper driving them, they lose momentum. Think about someone who decides to lose weight. They set a goal to lose 30 pounds, sign up for a gym membership, and start eating healthy. In the beginning, they are enthusiastic. They feel good about making positive changes, but after a few weeks, they start feeling discouraged. The number on the scale isn't moving as fast as they expected. They start skipping workouts. They indulge in unhealthy foods, telling themselves they'll get back on track later. Eventually, they quit altogether. The reason? Their motivation was based on a short-term desire rather than a deeply rooted purpose. Now, compare this to someone whose goal is not just to lose weight, but to live a longer, healthier life for their children. This person isn't just trying to look better, they are fighting for something greater. When they feel tired, they remind themselves why they started. When progress is slow, they stay committed because their goal is about more than just numbers on a scale. It's about being present for their loved ones, setting an example, and improving their quality of life. Their why is what keeps them disciplined even when motivation fades. This principle applies to every area of life. People who build successful businesses don't just set financial goals, they have a mission that fuels them. Athletes who reach the top don't just train for medals, they have a reason that pushes them beyond their limits. Artists, writers, and innovators who leave a lasting impact don't create just for fame, they are driven by a deeper calling. Goals may give direction, but it's purpose that provides the endurance needed to reach them. When people rely solely on goals without a strong why, they fall into a cycle of starting and stopping, of chasing quick wins but giving up when faced with adversity. Success is not just about setting goals, it's about knowing why those goals matter. Failure is rarely sudden. It doesn't happen in a single moment of defeat. Instead, it happens gradually, over time, as small decisions accumulate. Most people don't even realize they are failing until they have already given up. It starts with tiny compromises. Skipping one workout, putting off an important task, making excuses for not following through. At first, these decisions seem insignificant, but they create a pattern. One missed day turns into a week. One excuse turns into a habit, and before they know it, they have completely abandoned what they started. The reason this happens is not because people lack ability, but because they lose momentum. When they begin something new, they are full of energy and enthusiasm. The excitement of a fresh start pushes them forward. But as time passes, that initial excitement fades and they start encountering resistance. Maybe they hit a plateau. Maybe they experience setbacks. Maybe they feel overwhelmed by the effort required. Instead of pushing through, they start easing up. Not intentionally, not all at once, but slowly, in small ways that feel harmless at the time. This pattern is easy to recognize in everyday life. Someone starts reading a book, motivated to improve themselves. But after a few chapters, they get distracted and set it aside. They tell themselves they will come back to it later, but days turn into weeks and eventually they forget about it. Someone else starts a new diet, committed to eating healthier, but one day they make an exception, then another. Eventually they convince themselves that sticking to it isn't worth the effort. What began as small, seemingly harmless choices ultimately leads to failure. The same thing happens in business and careers. A person launches a new business with excitement, investing time and effort into making it work. But after months of slow progress, they start losing confidence. They tell themselves they just need a break, so they work a little less. They stop pushing as hard. They delay important decisions. And soon, they find themselves stuck, no longer making progress. Not because they lack the ability to succeed, but because they slowly lost the drive to keep going. The truth is, failure is never a single event. It's a process of gradual decline, one choice at a time. The people who succeed are not necessarily the smartest or the most talented. They are the ones who recognize this pattern and fight against it. They understand that small choices matter. They refuse to let minor setbacks turn into permanent roadblocks. They stay committed even when motivation fades because they know success isn't about avoiding failure. It's about refusing to quit. Most people assume that failure is the result of one big mistake or one major obstacle, but more often it's the result of countless small decisions to stop trying. The difference between success and failure isn't a dramatic event. It's a series of choices made every single day. Resilience is often misunderstood. People think it's about sheer willpower, the ability to push through obstacles by force of determination alone. But willpower fades. No one wakes up every single day feeling motivated. No one is immune to frustration, doubt, or exhaustion. The people who succeed are not the ones who have unlimited willpower. They are the ones who have a deep sense of purpose that fuels them even when their energy is low, when the odds seem stacked against them, and when nothing appears to be working. When most people face setbacks, they start questioning themselves. They wonder if they're good enough, if they're capable, if they even deserve success. Without a strong reason to keep going, these doubts take over. They lose confidence, and as a result, they stop trying as hard. They hesitate, they become inconsistent, and eventually they give up. Not because they couldn't succeed, but because they no longer believed it was worth it. People who are truly resilient don't avoid failure, they embrace it. They see obstacles not as signs that they should quit, but as opportunities to learn and improve. They expect difficulties along the way, and when they encounter them, they don't react emotionally. They don't dwell on how unfair things are or how hard the journey has become. Instead, they remind themselves why they started. That clarity of purpose allows them to reframe failure not as a permanent defeat, but as a necessary step in the process. Think about a child learning to walk. When they fall, they don't stop trying. They don't question whether they're meant to walk. They simply get up and try again and again and again. It's not willpower that keeps them going. It's an instinct, a natural drive to move forward. But as people grow older, they lose touch with that instinct. They become afraid of failure. They start believing that setbacks mean they aren't capable. They forget that failure is part of the process, not the end of it. Now, think about those who achieve extraordinary things. The greatest athletes, entrepreneurs, and leaders in the world all have something in common. They have failed more times than most people have even tried. They didn't succeed because they had more talent or luck. They succeeded because they refused to quit. They stayed committed not because they had endless willpower, but because their purpose was so strong that giving up was never an option. This is why purpose is more powerful than willpower. Willpower is temporary, it fluctuates, it weakens under stress. But purpose is constant. It's the anchor that keeps people moving forward even when motivation disappears. It's what turns failure into fuel. It's what transforms obstacles into stepping stones. Those who succeed don't rely on fleeting bursts of motivation. They build their resilience on something deeper, something that allows them to endure when others give up. Most people focus too much on results. They set goals, track progress, and measure success based on numbers, achievements, or external validation. But when things don't go as planned, when they don't see immediate results, they start feeling frustrated. Doubt creeps in, motivation fades, and they begin to question whether their effort is worth it. This is why so many people quit. They were focused on what they wanted to achieve, but not on why they wanted to achieve it. People who succeed think differently. They don't just chase outcomes, they are driven by a deeper purpose. They understand that results take time, and setbacks are part of the journey. Instead of obsessing over short-term wins, they stay committed to the reason they started in the first place. When obstacles arise, they don't give up because they aren't just working toward a goal, they are working towards something bigger than themselves. Imagine two people building a business. The first person is focused entirely on making money. They measure success only by profit, and when sales are slow, they get discouraged. If things don't improve quickly, they lose motivation and eventually give up. The second person, however, is building a business because they believe in what they are doing. They have a mission. Even when sales are low, they keep pushing forward because they know they are creating something valuable. They are not just chasing financial success. They are committed to a purpose that fuels them through challenges. This principle applies to every area of life. Think about someone training for a marathon. If they focus only on the finish line, every difficult run feels like an obstacle. Every setback feels like a failure. But if they focus on why they are running, whether it's for health, self-discipline, or proving something to themselves, they find the strength to push through. Their motivation isn't dependent on daily progress, it's rooted in something much deeper. The people who make the biggest impact in the world don't get there by constantly worrying about results. They stay true to their mission. They focus on the process, on learning, on growing. They understand that success is not an instant reward, it's the result of persistence, resilience, and a commitment to something meaningful. Results are unpredictable. There will always be factors outside of anyone's control. Markets shift, circumstances change, unexpected obstacles arise. If success is only measured by immediate outcomes, failure becomes inevitable. But when people are driven by a strong why, they remain adaptable. They learn from failures instead of being defeated by them. They keep moving forward, knowing that setbacks are temporary, but purpose is permanent. Those who focus only on results will always be at the mercy of external circumstances, but those who focus on why they started will find the strength to keep going, no matter what challenges come their way. Most people fail not because they lack intelligence, talent, or resources, but because they lose sight of why they started. They set goals, create plans, and begin with excitement, but when challenges arise, when progress is slow, and when the journey becomes more difficult than expected, they start to doubt themselves. They lose motivation, make excuses, and slowly drift away from their original path. Failure is rarely the result of one big mistake. It is the result of many small choices to stop trying. Success is not about avoiding failure. It is about refusing to quit. The people who achieve great things in life are not necessarily the most skilled or the most fortunate. They are the ones who stay committed even when the odds are against them. They understand that setbacks are not the end, but part of the process. Every failure is a lesson, every challenge is an opportunity, and every obstacle is a stepping stone to something greater. The difference between those who succeed and those who don't is not ability, it is the willingness to keep going. There will always be moments of doubt. There will be times when everything feels overwhelming, when progress seems invisible, and when the temptation to give up is stronger than the desire to push forward. But in those moments, the people who succeed are the ones who remind themselves why they started in the first place. Purpose is what keeps them moving when motivation fades. It is what gives them the resilience to stand back up every time they fall. Many people believe that success is about working harder, but hard work alone is not enough. Working hard without a clear purpose leads to exhaustion. It leads to burnout. It leads to a cycle of effort without fulfillment. True success comes when effort is aligned with meaning. When people wake up every day with a deep understanding of why they do what they do, they don't need constant motivation. They don't need external validation. They are fueled by something greater than themselves. And that is what keeps them on the path when others give up. Some of the most successful people in history were not the smartest or the most talented. They were the ones who stayed committed to their purpose, even when everything seemed to be working against them. They understood that failure was not a reason to stop, but a reason to grow. They embraced the struggle because they knew that every challenge was shaping them into the person they needed to become. The people who make the biggest impact are the ones who do not measure success only by outcomes, but by the strength of their conviction. They don't give up when things get hard. They don't let failure define them. They stay true to their purpose, no matter how long it takes, no matter how difficult the journey, and no matter how many times they fall. In the end, the only real failure is stopping before reaching the destination.